Okay, I believe that Miss Messina's class is sponsoring our all-school Mass today. Is that right, Miss Messina? And I think I requested 3 volunteers to come forward today to help me out with my homily. Have you got those 3 volunteers? Feel free to come on forward. Come on forward. Stand right up here. Face the assembly here. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
My name is Kate, and I'm in Miss Messina's class.
Kate?
My name is Ainsley, and I'm in Miss Messina's class.
Kate, Ainsley?
My name is Casper, and I'm in Miss Messina's class.
Kate, Ainsley, and Casper. Okay, give the microphone back to Kate. Round of applause for our volunteers for being courageous to volunteer and help me out. Okay, so I told them that I've got 4 questions for them today. And Miss Messina's like, oh, can I get those questions in advance, Deacon Paul? I'm like, no, these kids are smart, Miss Messina. They're going to know the answers. They're going to pay attention to the homily. They should know the answers. And I also said, I approached them before Mass, and I said, you know, I'm not going to leave you out here all alone. If you get stuck on a question, you could ask the assembly. You could ask the audience, okay? So I want the audience to pay attention to these questions as well, because you might get called upon if they don't know the answer. And I also said, if the question is really tough and you need to phone a friend, you guys don't have your phones on you, right? No phones in church. If you need to phone a friend, you can even go to your teacher and see if your teacher knows the answer, okay? So everybody, be aware, be awake. We've got some questions coming up. So the first question is, how many lepers do we hear about in our gospel reading today? How many lepers do we hear about in our gospel reading? You know the answer, Kate?
10.
10! 10 is the right answer. Round of applause here. Excellent. And how many of those lepers did Jesus heal? How many of those lepers did Jesus heal?
1.
Ooh. You want to poll the audience on that one? Oh yeah, one he healed, right? No. You want to poll the audience? I'm going to give you a chance to change your answer. Or you want to phone a friend? Does the audience know the answer? How many he healed? You want to ask someone in the audience? Go ahead, go ask her. How many did Jesus heal?
He healed all 10, but only 1 came back.
Oh, is this one trying to get extra credit here? He healed all 10, and 1 came back. Okay, excellent job. Good job with asking the audience. Okay, so if you were just paying attention to that, the second question is going to be even easier. How many of the lepers came back to thank Jesus? How many of the lepers came back to thank Jesus?
1.
1! How did you know that? That was awesome. Round of applause for our second volunteer. That's correct. 1 came back. Okay, pass it over to Casper. Casper, are you good at math?
Yeah.
Yeah, he says he's pretty good at math. Okay, so Casper, the question to you is, what percentage of lepers came back to thank Jesus? What percentage of lepers? 1 out of 10. What's the percentage?
1%.
Ooh, we've got some people in the audience raising their hand here. You want to go poll the audience? You want to phone a friend? Over here, too. Go ahead, walk over. What percent of lepers were healed?
10% were healed.
10 were healed, and 10%, 1 out of 10 came back to thank Jesus, right? Excellent job there. Okay, great. Okay, so 10%, 1 out of 10 came back to thank Jesus. Is that an acceptable percentage? Is that an acceptable percentage? Was Jesus happy with that 1 out of 10, 10% coming back to thank him? Was he happy with that? Oh, Casper, I don't know about that. Why don't you guys consult amongst the group here? What do you think? Was Jesus happy with that?
No.
No, he wasn't happy. And what do we hear about in our gospel reading? What did Jesus say? 10 were cleansed, were they not? Where are the other 9? Has none but this foreigner returned to give thanks to God? Jesus was not happy with just 1 coming back to give thanks to God. He wanted more of them to, ideally all of them. So my final question to you guys, this is the toughest question. You might need to phone a friend on this one if you haven't been paying attention in any of your religion classes. But the question is, what does the word Eucharist mean? What does the word Eucharist mean? You guys want to consult amongst each other? Do you think you know what the answer is? Or do you want to phone a friend?
Communion.
It means communion. I would phone a friend. I would phone a friend here. We got a lot of smart teachers. We got religious educators out here. See, what does the word Eucharist mean? What does the word Eucharist mean?
Jesus' body and blood.
Not the answer that we're looking for. What does the word Eucharist mean? It's derived from a Greek word. Any teachers? Anyone with a phone? Over there, we got some people raising their hand over there. What does the word Eucharist mean? Go ahead, go out over there. I'm going to give you a hint.
The body of Christ.
Oh, not the answer that we're looking. Okay, we got a teacher over here raising their hand. Right over here? What does the word Eucharist mean?
Celebration.
What was that?
Celebration.
Celebration. Oh, not from the Greek. Okay, so I'm going to give you a hint now. I'll give you a hint. It's a holiday that's coming up. It's a holiday that's coming up. Anybody know what holiday is coming up? What do you guys think? And don't say Christmas.
Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving! Thanksgiving! Absolutely. The word Eucharist means Thanksgiving, derived from the Greek word. Okay, so round of applause for our volunteers. You guys did a great job. Feel free to go back. Okay, so let's bring up another example. The first example, we had 10 lepers that were healed. 10 that were healed. 1 came back to give thanks to Jesus. It was 1 out of 10. 10% came back to give thanks to Jesus. On this other example, using the word Thanksgiving in Eucharist, we're going to look at the number of parishioners we have at Our Lady of the Wayside. It's roughly 2,300. But we know that a lot of that number isn't very accurate, and we know that a lot of our parishioners are homebound. So for this second example, we're going to use the number 2,100. 2,100 parishioners healed by Jesus through the sacrament of baptism. Okay? Healed by Jesus through the sacrament of baptism. How many of those parishioners come to church every weekend to give thanks to Jesus in the Eucharist? It's about 700. It's about 700. So in our example, 700 come back to give thanks to Jesus. 7 out of 21. It's roughly 1/3, or 33%. Do you think that Jesus would be okay with that 33% coming back to give thanks to Jesus in the Eucharist? What do you think? You think he's okay with 33%? No. We should be shaking our heads no. No, absolutely not. He wouldn't be okay with that. So, why do I bring this up? We need to do better in giving thanks to Jesus. Jesus, who deserves our thanks, and we need to do that by going to church every weekend. Okay? So our second graders are going to be receiving First Communion in, I believe, next year. Second graders, First Communion next year. What do you think? You think everyone that we're expecting at that First Communion Mass is going to show up? Yeah. Absolutely. We're going to have 100% of the people that are expected to be there show up. It's the First Communion. It's really important. But guess what? Jesus is just as present. He's fully present in that First Communion as he is in the second, and the third, and the fifth, and the 10th, and the 100th, etc., etc. So we need to remember that he's always there. I just met with the kindergartners a couple weeks ago, and we talked about being reverent at church. Why? Because Jesus is present in the Eucharist. He's in the tabernacle. We need to be reverent to Jesus. He's fully present. You guys are very fortunate to go to a religious school, Catholic school, where you know the truth about the Eucharist, where your religion classes help form you, where you're able to go to Mass, where you're able to practice the sacraments. And what my hope is for you is that you will lead your families back to church. Lead your families back to church in Thanksgiving and receiving the Eucharist every week. That's my hope for you. So, are you going to tell them? Are you going to tell them about the 1 out of 10 lepers that gave thanks to Jesus? Only 1 out of 10? Are you going to tell them about the 1 out of 3 parishioners that come to Mass every weekend to receive the Eucharist? Are you going to tell them that the word Eucharist means thanksgiving? You can be and make the difference in your family. So my question to everyone today are you going to tell them and lead them back to church in thanksgiving?